concept of belting. Why do we make such a big deal? Maybe a classically trained singer that was told things like you're either born with it or you're born without it, or it's gonna hurt your voice. Ay, Dios mío. It is so good to do another cafecito with you because it's been a little bit. I've been really busy launching our first mini program, Start Singing, which is now available at nbcperformance.com. This is for you if you know you can't take a voice lesson right now, but you still want to feel like you are actively exercising your voice. Check it out. It is there for you whenever you need it. You can learn the basics of how to get started with mixing, riffing, and belting. In fact, today, that's what we're going to talk about. This concept of belting. Why do we make such a big deal? Here's why. We equate better singing with powerful singing, especially if you love contemporary voices, pop, rock, musical theater, even jazz and gospel styles, right? We think bigger is better. And my friend, maybe not. Maybe not. Now, if you consider yourself a belter, that's amazing. If you've never tried or you're too scared to try, that is okay too. But we're gonna break down why we make such a big deal about this. But you know how we do. At NBC Performance, we focus on mindset just as much as we talk about voice technique. So this is where I want us to start today. If you equate belting with better singing, then when you achieve that goal, are you going to be happy? Are you going to be satisfied? Or are you going to find something else about your voice that you're critiquing that isn't enough? Okay, so anytime we develop a skill in our singing, I always want you to think about that starting point. Okay, this is something I'm working on. It's okay to have goals. It's okay to have things to aspire to. But what is it about your voice today that you can celebrate and expand on that? Belting, my friends, is a skill. In fact, I had a conversation with a beautiful singer just last week who we met for a consultation, and she is specifically wanting to work on her belt skills. She's a classically trained singer, but she has a very special project she's working on. So we're gonna get her ready for that. But she told me that in her search for voice coaches, one voice coach or one voice teacher told her, well, sorry, I can't help you because you're either born with it or you're not. Okay? No. It is a skill. You probably don't realize that in your everyday life, you are accessing the same mechanisms you would use in belt. When you call out to somebody to get their attention, hey, come here, especially as Latinos, hey, ven acá. That's belt. In no way, shape, or form did that hurt my voice. I projected well, right? Which is exactly what musical theater singers specifically are trying to do as they develop this skill of belting. We are here to break down whatever systems, whatever narratives you've carried surrounding this. So I'm going to show you two things that you can try today to get you a step closer into dabbling with belt if you've always been scared to try. Number one, I just did it a minute ago. I want you to say, hey, 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 and then just start elongating that and notice how high you can climb, how low you can go, still having that same solid sound, meaning you don't experience a voice crack, you don't experience a voice break, you can continue that same sound. You're going to continue to build upon that with that same connected sound. That is the beginning of belt. Number two, anytime our brain perceives big effort, we take a deep breath, don't we? Before we try something big. Try that right now. Did you notice how your abs may be contracted? You might have noticed my neck getting tight. That's pretty normal. Silly brains. Something big's about to happen, so we tighten. Something big's about to happen, so we engage the core. But for singing, especially powerful singing, it can actually create more tension. So if you are an experienced singer of any kind, and for whatever reason, that belt doesn't sound efficient or accessible, or you're having trouble with the startup, think about the way you're taking a breath. Maybe try slowing the breath down before you sing the notes. So those are two free, very easy tips to get you started on the road of, wait a second, I think I can do this. And if you want exercises that will help you start to do this, be sure to check out my Start Singing mini program. Now that we've gotten you started with some very easy functional voice tips to get you headed in the right direction, again, let's talk about why do we hold this on such a high pedestal in the first place? Or I'm gonna even present the flip side. You may be a classically trained singer that was told things like you're either born with it or you're born without it, or it's gonna hurt your voice. I want you to think about some cultural aspects surrounding belting, okay? Especially if you come from cultures where call and response is considered the norm. It's considered even something sacred. I want us to think about even American traditions like Black gospel music, spirituals. In Latin culture, there's a call and response rooted in African culture where it's celebratory, right? Or maybe we're even expressing grief. I have friends in Middle Eastern cultures where this is very, you have a period of mourning and there is a ritual for wailing. I want you to think about the nuances of those sounds that I just expressed, because when I even listed those, you probably already had some images that came to your head. If you were to ask any of those singers in any of those moments, I bet you they would tell you, no, this feels completely normal. They're belting. The same mechanisms in vocal function that they're employing to express emotions of grief or express emotions of celebration are rooted in belting. So my friend, if right now I'm talking to you and you're thinking, oh, your brain's just kind of like all over the place because of the narratives you've heard before, or maybe even believe for yourself that this is not accessible to you because it can cause vocal damage or it's just not proper. I want to challenge you with those experiences, with the experiences of singers all over the world that are doing this already as a part of their schema, as a part of their persona. It's just who they are por dentro. It's a part of them. And who are we, talking about American singers, to say that one is better than the other, that one is not considered as elite as the other? And this can go both directions, either from Western classically trained singers towards contemporary singers, or contemporary singers kind of messing with their own because they're not belting. Ay, Dios mío. Can we just stop? Can we just stop placing these norms, these hierarchies? Because, my friend, this is contributing to the reason why we have performance anxiety before we get up and want to share our voices with the world. Because we've seen people publicly judged on reality singing TV shows about what is good and what is bad. And so when it comes to belting, my friend, you are already doing this in your everyday life by calling out to someone. You have accessible information right now in this video that can get you closer to experimentation with that sound. If you've ever been scared to try it in your singing, you have resources at your disposal that you can go deeper with, whether it's a mini program like Start Singing or working with a voice coach to get you in that direction. And most importantly, we want to come at it from a healthy mindset of exploration and acceptance. In fact, I want to leave you with a little exercise today that I want to do with you, okay? I want you to think of 3 things right now in your singing that you can celebrate, whether they have to do with belt or not. In fact, I encourage you to not even mention belt. What are 3 things that you love about your voice today? I'll share mine with you. Number 1, I am really digging the low notes in my register lately. There have been some yummy, dark, chocolatey, Adele-like notes in the low range. And that's not the norm for me, but I'm really enjoying that side of my range when for all my years of choir singing, show singing, I've been a soprano and I love it. Number 2, I've been playing with vocal acoustics, shaping my mouth in a way to really play with getting louder, getting softer, being able to communicate the lyric of a song. To say I'm crazy. Oh, just being able to shape my mouth, get vowels to sound like they're right in the pocket that feel good to me. Which leads me to my 3rd point. I love that when I sing, I can catch the audience's attention. I can connect with them. I feel like I'm a really good storyteller when I share my music. And so those are 3 things for me that I'm celebrating today. And my friend, please, estoy ansiosa. I want to hear what you're celebrating with yours. So feel free to put them in the comments below or send me a message over on Instagram in my DMs. I want to celebrate those with you. Here, take it a step further. Why don't you post them to your social media? Make it public, because when you say it out loud, there's just something powerful about that, about putting it out into the world, and always having a place to come back to on the days when you're tempted to just continue to beat yourself up because you're belting or you're not. Celebrate what your voice can do today. My friend, thank you so much for joining me for this cafecito. Let's do it again. And if you have a question or a topic that you want to discuss, again, send me those. Maybe I'll do a rapid fire cafecito answering your questions here. And as always, canta con amor.